Hey everybody, welcome back to part 3 of our egg-experiment. Get it? Egg-experiment? Yeah, okay. Back to the science. So, we started off with a normal egg, and we put it in vinegar. And when we did that, we saw bubbles appear, and those bubbles we talked about were filled with carbon dioxide, which was part of a chemical reaction that was happening between the vinegar and the eggshell. And then once all those bubbles finished, we were left with a squishy egg. So the egg was no longer brittle, no longer hard, it was just kind of squishy. All right, so I have left my squishy egg in some type of liquid for a couple of days, and I'm going to show you what happened. But before we get to that, there's a word that I want to introduce today. You might already know it, but just in case, and just in case it's not quite clear, this word is membrane. Okay, and a membrane is a thin layer or barrier between two things. So what does that mean, and what are some examples? Well, a great example that we can really see, because it's big, is a balloon. Okay, so it's a thin layer between two things. And so the thin layer in this case is the actual balloon. So inside we have carbon dioxide because I breathed into the balloon. And so there's carbon dioxide in there. And then outside there is the air. So the membrane, the thin layer, is separating the carbon dioxide from the air outside. All right, another example that we're all very familiar with of a membrane is our skin. So our skin, inside our skin is, you know, blood and bones and whatever else is in there. And our skin separates it from the air and the ground and our clothes and whatever else is outside our body. Okay, so those are two great examples of a membrane, is our skin and a balloon. All right, so with my squishy egg, I wasn't sure what I was going to put it in, but I found some old molasses, and I figured, you know, that's liquid. It's pretty old, probably going to get rid of it, so I might as well use it for this. So I stuck it in there for a couple of days, and something really cool happened. It got really, really squishy. So you can kind of see that. It's really wrinkly now. It's like a really big raisin. And I can kind of squish it around a little bit. It definitely doesn't seem like an egg anymore. Isn't that cool? So, what has happened here? Well, the molasses is pretty much liquid sugar. Okay, it's kind of like corn syrup. There's some other things in molasses, but it's mostly just sugar. All right, and so inside the egg, when it was squishy and a normal shape, we had the white and the yolk, right? But in that is a lot of water. There's a lot of water in the egg white and the yolk. So when it was put in molasses, which doesn't have a lot of water in it, some of the water from inside the egg wanted to escape to the molasses so that things could be balanced. So the membrane allowed things to be balanced on both sides. Okay, so that's kind of weird to think about, but you could think about it like as if you're baking cookies or something, and the smell from the cookies, it doesn't just stay in the oven a lot of times, right? It comes out into the kitchen, and then it goes into the next room over, and so the smell kind of goes everywhere. So the water inside the egg, it also wanted to go everywhere. So another thing that is really similar to this, we talked about our skin being a membrane. Well, what happens when you are going swimming or you're in the water for a long time? Maybe you're taking a bath, right? Our skin, our fingers, get really wrinkly just like this egg. So it's actually the same process. And there's a name for this process. This is a bonus word for today. This word is osmosis. Okay? So that's a great word to remember for the future. I'm sure you'll come across it again. Osmosis. So that's what it's called when our fingers get wrinkly because we're in water for too long or for a long time. or when this egg gets wrinkly because it's been sitting in molasses or corn syrup or something else. So if you still have your squishy egg, go ahead and maybe find something to put it in. Maybe you want to put it in a cup of water, because remember, originally we had it in vinegar, so water might do something totally different. You could put it in something else you could find. Maybe you want to put it in, I don't know, Sprite. That would be interesting. I really don't know what would happen then. But if you do try some other things, please let me know in the comments or send me an email, because I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to hear about what you're experimenting with. All right, so that's all for our squishy egg experiment. Stay safe, everybody, and I will see you next time.